Well, following the second Monetary Policy Committee meeting of the year, there was a surprise announcement to the fact that the monetary policy rate had been reduced from 14% to 13.5%. Now, that's surprising in the sense that before this meeting, the expectation, as had happened on the first meeting of the year, that held on the 20th and 21st of January, when we had a whole decision where there were no changes in the parameters. The expectation was that the same thing was going to happen, this time around. But following, most importantly, before the meeting, the Governor of Central Bank himself was on record to have said during the public presentation that it's not time for us to relax, the tightening which has subsisted for quite some time. And he said so, and then also the body language also was in that direction. So that was the expectation. But what is important is that, put it in context, this rate has been held since July 2016. That means it's been held for more than 2 years, and that's an unusually long time for this to happen. Now, these rates, in fact, were hiked up as the country went into recession in 2016, and as a way of trying to fight recession. And this, at that time, it was thought that we needed to make sure that the rates were attractive, particularly for foreign investors, that might want to bring in their monies into our economy. And so we needed to make our economy a bit more attractive. This is the risk factor that's inherent in this economy. So that was there, but it seemed to have been overly kept, for too long. Now, I think that the thing is that we might now take some time for us, because there are some people listening to me now that might not know what the monetary policy rate in fact means. The monetary policy rate is the base rate in the economy. It's the rate at which the central bank would lend to a bank that goes to borrow some money. And so if a bank goes to, and more often than not, in fact, we have 14%, monetary policy rate is 14%, but there is a corridor to this rate, it's attached to this rate. So when the central bank announces this rate, it says that there's a corridor. As it's happened, and it's been like that for quite some time. And the corridor has been 0.2 minus 5. Now, essentially what that means is that if a bank goes to borrow from the central bank, then it will borrow at 14 plus 2, which is 16%. Whilst if an organization, the bank also wants to leave money with the central bank, of course it will attract some interest. But this interest that central bank would pay would be at the rate of 14 minus 5, which is 9%. A sort of discouragement for you not to come to central bank, to leave your money. But what is important is that these rates have implications. The rates are there, and we want to see them come down. We want to see single-digit interest rates, but it's not possible for that to happen overnight. The rates are responsive. The fundamentals of your economy. You cannot have rates, for instance, that are below the rate of inflation. It's not viable. So the rates are expected to be in real terms, which means that the rates are supposed to be above the rate of inflation. The rate of inflation today in the economy, as has been announced by the Federal Bureau of Statistics, is about 11.3. And so that means that if you're a savings customer in a bank and you're getting an interest of about 5 or 6%, then your money is losing value as it's kept, in this bank. You're losing money, and losing because you're paying what we call an inflation tax. Now, okay, so that this has happened. Now that this has happened, we have to now address the issue of what are the implications, for the economy. Now, I think that the first thing we have to be concerned about is that to ask ourselves, what time would it take, for this, what has happened now, to have effect at the level of the average bank customer. I think that's the jury is still out. We don't know how soon that will be, but we had the central bank did say that they will be tracking the banks to make sure that this impacts at the level of the customer. And so we would expect that if that is the case, then those who are marginal borrowers, those who would want to borrow money from the banks, and 0.5% would make them change their decision, whether to borrow or not to borrow. And so we expect that if that happens, there will be more people demanding social credit from the banks. And so that the more borrowing, and we expect that if that is happening, and then there's going to be more expansion in the economy, and more liquidity going into the system. And we expect that this money that's going into the system is going to be deployed for productive use. And so that is the case, so we get more productive activities, back again, so their operations. We expect that with more employment, and so it's expansionary, and so that's it align with what the school authorities would want to see, because the challenge we have in this economy, as we all agree, is the fact that unemployment is the highest growth industry that we have, and it has social consequences. And so there's a need for us to, the essence of management of this and any economy is the welfare of its citizenry. Now, would it be inflationary? And then we do not think so, because we do not believe that central bank has other instruments they will use to control the liquidity within the system. So it's not just interest rates. Central bank has what they call open market operation, by which they issue instruments. These instruments, they will use it. They will sell. They want to mop up liquidity from the system as customers release their monies to hold these instruments, or they will buy to release money. So there's other instruments that central bank could use, to keep the liquidity in check. And so we would expect that going forward, that central bank will be up to its acts, and that the monitoring, and to ensure that things run the way they should run. Now, it's also important to say, because there's been some people think that interest rates are high, and that these interest rates, to a large extent, impact on the level of activities we have in the economy. Yes, it does, but central bank, in its own thinking, have gone out of their way to set up some funds. So there's funds that have been out there, that's been there over the years, funds targeted, single digit, targeted for agriculture, for power, for aviation, and so on and so forth, that are there. But okay, there are challenges. We're trying to access these funds, but so these funds are there. So I think we're ready to go. We would expect that with everybody, all hands on board, with the stability we're now seeing post-election, and that we get back to business, and we expect that the budget will be approved promptly, so that start implementation. Then we remain overly optimistic that the future looks rosy. Thank you for watching this recording.